50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com. Use promo code MATT, M-A-T-T, and get 15% off your purchase.
Yeah, it's National Siblings Day. Who'd have thunk it? Well, let's see. Galen, Gary, Karen, Bernice, and myself. Happy National Siblings Day. Love you all. Miss you. Hope you're all doing well. I don't see you enough. Anyway, every day I look through the calendar. There are several National Day. Oh, you know what? Was I wrong? Oh, that's tomorrow. Damn it. Today's Tuesday, not Wednesday. All right, well, hold off. I retract the statement. That'll be tomorrow, folks. Today, a couple of interesting days. They're not all food related, of course. You know, today's like National Winston Churchill Day. Very cool. National. Oh, wait a minute. Stop the presses. Rewind a little ways. I actually shared to my own Facebook page today before the video started. And I added a whole bunch of, as a matter of fact, I tagged, Randy White, Mark Conway, Nobu, Matsuhisa. Who else I tag in there? Anybody who would get people to watch, basically. So I decided not to tag Food Network, but I might start doing that. Just saying. All right, so today is National Winston Churchill Day. Okay, I get that. He was an iconic, historical figure. National Cherish and Antique Day. What? I like antiques. My mother, as a matter of fact, ran an antique store in Chandler, Arizona, with a good friend of hers, Lila. And I don't know. I'm going to go there. Okay, cool. All right. I got a show host ask me what's going on today. Nothing. Just want to promote a show. That's all. Call in if you want to promote. All right. So, actually, this is Rob Carson, the host of Sound Bites. And if you haven't heard his show, I believe it comes on at 6 or 7 Eastern. I should go to Spoony.com. I should know that. But he comes on in the evening. We throw up new shows, Tuesday and Friday. And, man, what great content. Rob Carson has been a syndicated writer for a long time, syndicated comedy writer. And his shows are always phenomenal. As a matter of fact, I don't know if it's the show that went up today or if the next show, but it actually, there's a woman that wrote a cookbook about the food that was served on the Titanic. And he actually makes one of the dishes. He made the dish at home. It was pretty cool. Anyway, I'd like to get Rob on the phone. He's got a great show. If you don't know who he is, look him up. His name's Rob Carson. He's got some great videos as well. 20, 30, 40,000 views each. Okay, Rob, I'm not, and whoever the chef you are, it was a great looking salad, but they made a bread salad, which is basically salad with some, day-old bread that you dice up and you put it in there, and it's a filler. But it had like 17,000 views. It was awesome. So anyway, he's got over 100 culinary videos out there. Kind of a amateur chef, home do-it-yourself foodie. Matter of fact, if you check out his webpage, he has an 8-foot-long stainless steel table in the basement. That might be in the kitchen, I don't know. But his daughter and he were making cinnamon rolls. And, when you make cinnamon rolls, you make the dough and you roll it out. And once you get it rolled out and flat, then you spread the the butter and the cinnamon sugar and everything else in it, and then you roll it up and you cut them into sections. Of course, that's how you get the little pinwheel. Well, that log that they formed that you cut the individual cinnamon buns from was almost the entire length of the table. I mean, it was awesome. It's great. It's a great picture. He's got a series of photos that he has on there showing them making it. Anyway, just looks like fun. He's goofing around making stuff on a Sunday with his daughter. We got a couple of interesting things today, so let's go back. Let's go back to the Today calendar. Yeah, okay. National Cherish and Antique Day, whatever. National Chinese Almond Cookie Day. Well, at least it's food. You ever had a Chinese almond cookie? They're not anything like a fortune cookie. They're kind of like the Chinese version of a. Come on, why does that not want to open? It's kind of like the Chinese version of a sugar cookie, right? It's kind of dense. They're kind of brittle. They're delicious, though. Why does that want to open? Oh well, I guess I can't. I'm not allowed to look. I've been banned. I've been banned from the National Day calendar. Well, that kind of sucks. All right, so that's pretty much the only food thing for today. That's the national. Oh, there we go. So yeah, they're kind of a yellowish cookie, and they have a little like an almond halved almond stuck into them. I don't know where they came from, but let's find out. They're tasty. Let's see. Oh, come on. What in the world? I don't know what is going on, but for some reason, National Chinese Almond Cookie Day. All right, now let's see. There we go. So, National Name Yourself Day? No, I don't want to do that. Oh, hey, did you know somebody named a star after Doc? So if you're one of our regular listeners that goes back a long time, predating Spoony, per se, Doc Thompson was one of our show hosts. He was my friend. He was our business partner. And but anyway, so upon his tragic loss, they actually someone named a star after him. I thought that was really cool. So I always thought that was kind of a weird joke of a Christmas gift to give people. I'd much rather make biscotti and truffles and put them in a tin and give them to someone because it doesn't last forever, but the memory does. But I thought that was actually a pretty cool thing. So I don't remember who it is, but whoever did that, that's a pretty cool thing to do. All right, so National Chinese Almond Cookie Day. Let's see. Oh, here are the facts to know about Chinese almond cookies. Here we go. In Mandarin Chinese, these are more literally called almond cakes. The Chinese almond cookie is native to southern and southeast China, and there is no record of these cookies before the 1900s, which means they're probably, well, I guess they could be authentic Chinese, but they were probably an import. I'm not sure that the Chinese had cookies. Chinese commonly prepare almond milk and almond tea. I did not know that. An American variation exists using pecans. Fun fact. Typical to southern and southeastern China, these almond cookies are usually enjoyed around Chinese New Year, yes, and are given as gifts to family and friends. In some Chinese restaurants, they are served to cleanse the palate after several courses, rather than being regarded as a dessert. So I guess that's kind of like the sorbet of Chinese food. Interesting. No idea. Anyway, they're good. They're tasty. They come from like this golden hue. Some of them are more yellow. Some are actually they look more like sugar cookies. And I've seen them that are in China that are stamped. They actually have the Chinese character stamped on top. And I would say that in Chinese, like the characters, but I don't know how to say that. In Japanese, it's called kanji, but I don't know how to say that in Chinese. So if someone knows, you could go to Facebook, you go to Spoony Radio on Facebook, and you could actually tell me how to say that in Chinese. You could write it down, and I'll pretend to know how to say it. I'll make fun of myself. And Joe Raff says, not a big fan of Chinese almond cookie, but my mom loves them. Very dense. Yeah, they can be. Hi. Let's see, Stephen, I was late, but here, you're late, but you missed the Chinese almond cookie. So, conversation. Maybe you didn't miss the worst part of the show, or the best part of the show. All right, so I have a friend that's going to be calling in today, Greg Cocker. He called in about a month ago. He is the general manager of the River Grill Steakhouse in Bella Vista, Arkansas. He was the general manager at a place that I worked at in Northwest Arkansas. And he actually sent me a video today. He sent me 2 pictures and a video. And he was like, it's a weird, here's exactly what he says. I'll read it to you because this is kind of funny. So these are the kind of emails I get from friends, or texts I get from friends. It's not, hey man, how you doing? No, it's, for my sister, it's, I don't have almond flour and I need something gluten-free. I have rice flour, coconut flour, and something else. I'm making a gluten-free pineapple upside-down cake. Which one should I use? That's kind of how my holidays go, right? I have 2 hours to cook a 17-pound turkey. Patrick, I know, I love you, brother. I haven't talked to you in like a year, but what should I do? Actually, I don't. My sisters and my brother talk to me more often than that. But this is what Greg sends me today. He sends me a picture of it's a loin. So it's basically if you took a fish, a long fish. In this case, it's a mako shark, and they're getting it ready. They're preparing to put on the menu, but it's basically cut into 4 pieces. So basically, if you quartered it lengthwise, and you get 4 long loins out of that. And he said, weird looking bloodline on the mako shark. And I go, that is odd. He goes, well, so my thought is the mako shark, I think it's the short fin mako shark is the fastest shark. I mean, it goes up to it bursts of up to 47, 45 miles an hour. And then he sends a video. My thought was that the increased blood flow might explain why it's the fastest species of shark. And he says, true, just the most distinct line I've ever seen. Now, if you've ever seen a fish that had a larger fish like tuna or swordfish, if you were to take a cross section of that fish, it's going to be whatever color you imagine inside. Like swordfish is kind of a grayish beige all the way around, except right along the spine, right? Actually, it's adjacent to the spine, where the majority of the blood flow through the fish is. It's really deep red, almost like it's like purplish red, and typically you can tell if a fish has been mishandled or if it was caught in a manner that's not conducive if it struggled for a long, if it struggled for a long time against the line, and basically it's called burning up the fish. So when you long line fish and you catch them, they do this I'm not saying this out of spite, but in Panama and some other Central American countries, they catch these fish, they catch tuna, and instead of bringing them right into the boat, they tend to drag them through the water, and the fish is swimming against the hook, and it physically burns the flesh in a sense that the increased blood flow starts to take. So where that blood, there's the thing called the bloodline. It's basically it's an artery. It's not really an artery, but it's a pathway that the blood flows through the fish, and then it radiates out into the body to fuel the muscles. But it's not like human capillaries, right? It's not. If you ever looked at fish, they don't have a lot of veins and capillaries, right? They're not like the human. It's not built the same as a human, obviously, because they live in water. I didn't know if you knew that. I'm trying to share my wealth of knowledge here. But what happens when they swim against that line is it's called burn. It burns it up. So that the bloodline actually starts to infiltrate into the flesh of the fish. So if you catch like a big eye tuna or a bluefin tuna that might be 300, 400, 500, 600 pounds, you end up losing about 100 pounds of meat because it starts to spoil the meat, right? It starts to go out of its common area of containment. And okay, that was a really weird way to put it. It leaves the bloodline, the typical bloodline area, and it starts to go deeper into the flesh, and it just ruins the meat. So what was really cool about this, the picture he sent is, and he noted this as well, this bloodline, right? You've probably seen it on fish before. If you get a piece of salmon, there's going to be, when you take the skin off, and there's that brownish gray stuff on the bottom of the fillet, where between the skin and the flesh of the fish, that's the bloodline, all right? Yes, it's on both sides of the fish. So, but anyway, it's encapsulated. It has its own membrane, and I don't know why. So I've been trying to research it, and I can't figure it out. Anyway, it was very fascinating. To trim the fish, it actually makes it very easy. Anyway, we'll talk about that when hopefully Greg's going to be calling in at the bottom of the hour. I think he's working today, so he may not make the call. But I made a list. Now, I didn't share this on the Spoony Radio page, but if you go to my page, I can just read it to you. I made a list of some of the interesting foods. I put interesting. I kept it kind of, I was going to say, something besides interesting, but I decided not to. But yeah, some of the most interesting foods I've eaten over the years. And a lot of them were in Japan. I've eaten strange foods elsewhere, like in Louisiana. I had nutria. And if you don't know what nutria is, Oh, it's it kind of looks like a it's got kind of I don't know how you describe it. It's got the head of a. It's not a squirrel. It's not a rabbit. It's more elongated. It has these two big teeth in the front. And then, but it's kind of like a giant rat, but it's not. It's squattier. Like it's more compact. But they're big. They're like a foot and a half tall, and 2 feet long, and they're very nutritious, and they breed very fast. They procreate quickly. And anyway, why did that not share to my page? That's not cool. Where did it go? How can I? All right, come on. For the first time, like 20 minutes before the show starts, I shared something to my page, and it didn't work. And that's a bummer because I had a whole bunch of hashtags and ats and blah, blah, blah. Well, I will have to figure out where it went. I don't know. All right, I'll go back and share the video. So, I absolutely hate Facebook. But you know what's going on? We're actually going to put the video feed up on our page, right on Spoony.com. And it's going to be probably another week or so. Ron is working on it right now. But we're going to have our own player, and it'll stream live on our page. I don't think at this point it's interactive, but we will get to that point, and we won't have to worry about this Facebook nonsense and whether or not I shared it to the right page. Everybody can go to, what's up, Dan? So Dan is the man. He takes care of everything around here. I mean, everything. That guy. Dude, I wish I had somebody like that around the restaurants, actually. Because I'm telling you, you know how much money people spend in restaurants every year trying to repair equipment? Chefs are the handiest people I know. We learn how to repair refrigerators, compressors. We can replace door seals, handles. That's the easy part. But, man, we'll tear apart an oven, a smoker, I don't know, a griddle, electric griddle, gas griddle, you name it. We'll tear it apart because you know what? $80 an hour for somebody to come out and repair a piece of equipment that's probably 6, 7, 8, 10 years old. It's cooked at, 250,000 steaks. I don't know, something ridiculous. And it's starting to break down inside because the creosote that builds up in there and it's kind of acidic and it breaks down the guts of the machine. Oh, hell no, I'm not paying $80 an hour. Now, there are times when you have to because your refrigerator goes down or your walk-in freezer goes down. And, yeah, that's just not a good thing. How did I not share it? Man, I'm not happy right now. Well, I'm happy. I'm just not happy that it didn't get shared to my own page because I took time. I took a lot of time. As a matter of fact, Donna Anderson Collins, you mean Donna. I'm just going to say Donna. She is the Jelly Queen. You should call in. We need to actually just send me an email at patrick@spoony.com. We need to book you on the show and get you in here because you're local. And not only that, you invited me to a pie competition to judge a pie contest on the 5th of May, I believe. And actually the day before, I think I'm doing the Roanoke steak. The Roanoke Ribeye Roundup. So I'll be competing on behalf of Spoony Radio. I'll probably try to find another chef friend to go down there and we'll play the equals role and have some fun, cook some steaks, and feed some peoples. So part of the reason we want to do this, it's like $150 to enter, but we get 8 tickets, and so for 8 tickets, 8 of us get to eat, and we don't eat steak often. I'm sorry. I eat steak often. Yeah, as far as you know. No. We're not there yet, but it'll be a fun time. So if you're in the area, I believe it's the 4th of May, the Roanoke Ribeye Roundup. I don't know what time it is. I don't even know where Roanoke is in proximity to me. I think it's that way, like southwest. I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but it's not far from here, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And then the next day, there is I think it's the pie, some sort of pie throwdown that's sponsored by the Jelly Queens, and that's Donna herself. Should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. As a matter of fact, Randy White is going to be there, the host of Into the Fire, and he had his inaugural show yesterday. I don't know if you missed it or saw it, but it was good. It was good, man. That I thought I could talk. Dude, that guy can. Actually, ran up just picking on you. That was a really good show for your first show. I mean, I needed 2 shots of bourbon and half a Valium to do my first. Not really, but no, it's a great show. It's gonna be. He's gonna be one of the feature stars. Actually, one of the. I think he's gonna be a star immediately on Spoony Radio. So, all right. The list of foods, man, I wish that I took so much time to type that out. Facebook, why are you doing this to me? I know it's not on purpose, as far as you know, or as far as you're going to tell me, but that's not right. I actually spent a lot of time doing that. All right, so interesting that so few people watching. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway. All right, I'm going to go back to Spoony Radio. All right. So I put out a request the other day. I said, hey, what would you as listeners like me to help you with? Besides like washing your dishes or taking care of your dog, feeding your children. That's not really. Someone said, how about an 8-year-old or 12-year-old girl's birthday party coming up? It was like the day, I think it was Friday or Thursday. It was Saturday the party was. I'm like, and they jokingly said, of course, or seriously said, too short notice. And yes. Other than that, I got a great list of things that people needed help with. So one was actually some kitchen tips and tricks, like spraying your bowl with Pam before you cook your eggs in the microwave, so that they just slide right out, and you don't have to scrub them down for an hour, because there's nothing. Oh, hey, if anybody calls in, and I'm not expecting you to necessarily call in, like Rob Carson, let me know, text me or something, and when you do, so I can be sure and get the line, because I'm not looking at the line. It's not in plain view over here. So anyway, there were a whole bunch of things. And this listener threw a few out, actually. So one of them was to spray the bowl with Pam before you cook your eggs in the microwave, which I kept trying to teach Doc to do, but it never worked. Some of the other things are, using parchment paper on top of a baking pan, like a cookie sheet. So you don't have to clean the cookie sheet afterwards, or at least nothing bakes on and gets completely, it's a pain, especially if you have a nonstick baking sheet. It's such a pain when you have to start scrubbing that, because then you start losing your coating. And speaking of baking sheets, there were these baking sheets called Air Bake. They were basically, they had a layer, there were two double-walled baking sheets, and there were like cookie sheets. I don't know what you call them. Sheet trays in a restaurant. I don't know what you call them at home. Cookie sheet, I guess. But they have a rim around them, not just the flat ones, because stuff just makes a mess in your oven. But the Air Bake ones were awesome, because they were double walled, and they had that barrier, kind of like a stopgap to protect the stuff from burning. They're awesome. All right, some of the other questions. Actually, no questions. I'll give you a couple tips. If you're making something really messy, like you can do a sushi party at home, right? I've done that just a few times over the years at people's homes, and done a lot of parties. One of the things you can do is underneath all the cutting boards, you can cover the countertops and a little bit of the backsplash against the wall with plastic wrap. I know that sounds a bit excessive and maybe a bit anal retentive about wanting to clean, but I'm telling you what, sushi rice is so sticky. And once it gets on your shoes or in your carpet or on the floor, into the grout of your tile in your backsplash, it's going to stay there. It really is. So I used to make people take their shoes off when they came in to make sushi at a party, like when I was giving a lesson. And the reason being that you're less likely to step in rice and track it around the home if you're in your bare feet or your stocking feet. So I can't believe the first half an hour is already done. Wow. All right, first course, which was I don't know, tips, tricks, and silly holidays. Already done. Greg Cockrum may be calling in from River Grill. We're not sure. If not, we're going to talk about shark anyway. One of my favorite fish, actually a great substitute for swordfish. and a very sustainable species in most areas. But we'll come back. We'll talk about some of the really weird stuff. Man, I can't even tell you what namako is and how bad it tastes. But I'm gonna try to describe it when we come back in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
Follow Chef Patrick Mosher on Twitter at Food Biz Pro.
Have you done it? You catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror?
I'm one of those people you don't want to see naked.
Yeah, most of us. But I mean, you look and you're going, what the?
I know.
How did I get to whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. Hey there, it's Doc Thompson and Brad Staggs to tell you about a different way to shed those pounds. This is brand new tech. It's only been around for a couple of years or so. It was based on research from the University of California that said there's a molecule called OEA that's found naturally in your body. It produces it in the Mediterranean diet, that when taken in concentrated amounts, it will actually make you feel fuller and boost your metabolism.
I've lost about 10 pounds so far.
It's amazing.
It
now,
really is cool.
A company said, we can take this to market and make this great product that'll help you. It's called Riduzone, RIDUzone.com, RIDUzone.com. It's Brad's work. It's worked for Brad's, worked for me, countless other people. Go to Riduzone.com and try today. You're going to love it. Riduzone.com. Remember that, RIDUzone.com.
Take the pain out of ordering your diabetic testing supplies with Diathrive. Diathrive ships the testing supplies you need directly to you when you need them. Best of all, with plans starting as low as $8 a month, Diathrive is probably going to cost you less than what you're paying today. Diathrive is so convinced that you'll love their service, they're offering your first month of supplies free. Simply type the code DOC, D-O-C, at checkout. Diathrive.com. That's DIA Thrive.com.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-570-6630. 800-570-6630. That's 800-570-6630. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
And we're back, and no wonder it did not share to my page. I said share to my timeline, but for some reason it shared back to Spoony Radio. Oh, man, I'm telling you. All right. I'll share it now. Let's try one more time. Well, if you're just joining us, I'm Chef Patrick Mosher, the Food Biz Pro. If you've never heard the show before, Chef Patty Cakes, I don't know, Patty Cooks Cakes, you name it. Come up with some funny names. As long as it's not, what was it? Celebrity Chef Kitty what was it? Kitty McCatrick? I think that's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. And by the way, thanks, Pat, for putting that. Not me. Thanks, Pat G, for putting that out there. I appreciate that. All right. So somebody said, I love the Jelly Queens and Randy. That's Derry O'Connor. She's gonna be on the show on Thursday. Actually, she was on a different whole radio broadcast, food related, and she's gonna come in and entertain us on Thursday. We're gonna talk food and food radio. So Kinsey, I'm sorry. You feel like you got shorted on the tips and tricks. Are you alone in that? No, I'm not done. So hang in there. And somebody said, I think it was Kinsey that said that, what was it? Can't believe that I came so close to saying that I ate beaver. No, I have eaten the animal, like prepared, grilled the animal. I've had beaver before. So, and it was interesting to say the least. So, yeah, I know where that's going. Never mind. Should have just kept my big mouth shut. I should never pay attention to the comments. So back to tips and tricks. There are a few more. Why is this wanting to go to? I want to go to sharing my timeline, which is me. Nah, we're gonna stop that. All right. So other tips and tricks of the kitchen. All right. Let's see. I can't be all out of tips and tricks. There's no way. I feel like I'm trying to answer the final Jeopardy question. Alec Trebek is looking like snapping his fingers as a tick tock. That's a good question. I don't know today. Oh, you know what? If you don't eat the heels of the bread, well, you're silly because that's the best piece, obviously. And I never called it the heel. It was called the crust where I grew up, not the heel. But that makes sense to call it the heel because the bread has a crust all the way around. But save those, and when you need breadcrumbs, I store them in the freezer. Just break them up, roughly break them up, throw them in a freezer bag, put them in the freezer. It works really well. Again, if you're meal prep is probably one of the banes of most people's existence. Let's see if Greg's called in. Nope. All right, so most of us don't plan the meals for the week. We kind of will buy. I'll say most, the majority, not most. We don't plan our meals for the week. We shop for 3 or 4 days at a time, or 2 days at a time, or in my case, I used to shop for 1 or 2 days at a time. Now with the electric skillet, I don't really cook a whole lot here. I am going to, however, make the Spoony pan bread tomorrow, and we'll put some interesting stuff on that. I have to go back and listen to the show the other day on Monday and actually realize what I said I was going to put on that. So I will go back and listen to the show, and if you remember, please tell me. But I will go back and I'll listen to make sure I get it right because I don't want to be calling me a liar. Meal prep. I like chicken, chicken breast, roast chicken, doesn't matter. I like to pre-cook things on Sunday. So if I'm going to make pork tenderloin, roast beef, something on Sunday night for dinner, chicken breast, doesn't matter. I will cook double. So if I'm feeding 2 or 4 or 6 or 8, then I know I need X amount of meat. It's about, typically with roast beef, it's like 4 to 6 ounces per person, which is another, you lose about a third of that in 25 to 30% in cooking. So, you scale it up, you do the math. I'm not that good right now, and my brain does not want to do math. So, yes. See, Stephen Owls, you have, he says, I'm sure he'll do more. Yes, I will. See, I'm doing more tips and tricks right now. But this is not really a kitchen hack, right? This is more food preparation. This is saving you time later in the week. And the reason it does this is if you make extra of the proteins, the sides, whatever you happen to make, especially when you're making like rice or potatoes, it comes in really handy when you need to throw something together really quickly at the end of the week. You'll have all these leftover items that you can throw in a pot, add some beef or chicken stock, and you really have soup. So rice, if you're going to make 2 cups of rice, make 3, maybe not 4, make 3. So 2 cups of rice is going to give you, 4 to 6 cups cooked, maybe a little more. And then, you'll probably eat 4 cups, and then you'll have 2 cups left over. So if you have 4 cups left over by adding that little bit of extra rice, then what happens later in the week? You can make a stir fry, or you can make stir-fried rice. Say you have, basically stir-fried rice is like the hash, stir-fried hash, red flannel hash, beef and onion hash, Hash House a Go-Go. I mean, look at their menu. They have 50, 60, 100 different hash varieties. But stir-fry is basically the same thing. It's a way to use up leftover ingredients. And it doesn't take a lot to be successful with that. So if you have your rice, and actually it's better to have cold rice, day-old cold rice. I know. Who'd have thought that? Everybody thinks you have to cook fresh rice if you're going to make stir-fry. That's not true. You want it cold. The reason being it has less moisture in it. And so when you start to saute it, it doesn't stick to the pan. It doesn't stick together, especially if you're not using Japanese short grain or medium grain rice, and you're using more of a California or American rice, the kind of enriched, partially prepared, whatever you're going to use, whatever rice you use. Doesn't matter if it's basmati or jasmine or American long grain rice, but make extra. And then when you want to make your stir fry, depends on if you're starting with raw or cooked meat, but typically you're going to have leftover meat from something, whether it's part of a steak or some chicken breast or chicken thighs, doesn't matter. Whatever meat it is, you pull it off if it's like chicken, pull it off the bone if there's bone, and then you chop it up, rough dice it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it bite size or smaller. Then, so you saute the heavier the products that take longer to cook first. So first in the pan would be the vegetables that take a long time to cook, including onion, like bell pepper, if you have zucchini squash or eggplant or anything like that you're putting in, which all of those could really go in a stir fry. I don't see why not. So saute those up, and then at the end you add your rice, because if you add the rice first, it's going to be kind of you risk you run the risk of burning it before the rest of the food is cooked. All right, so raw stuff. And if you're going to add an egg after the vegetables are cooked, then you would add your egg, then you add in your meat, or actually the meat next, then you add your egg in. And when you put the egg in, you have to stir it really fast, like you're making scrambled eggs. And then you throw the rice in. And at that point, you start to season. And it's typically a little soy sauce. I use ginger powder or fresh ginger. Also garlic, onion powder. You can put in a little sesame oil. That's pretty. It's really simple. And sometimes I try not to use too much soy sauce. Soy is one of those flavors that once you go overboard, it's really hard to correct. It's such a potent flavor. And for me, I'm kind of salt sensitive, so I don't enjoy. Well, okay, I do enjoy certain foods that are really salty. Sesame seeds in the shell, peanuts, things like that. But when it comes to my food being served to me in a restaurant or in my home, then I don't really, I don't enjoy it when it's too salty. So I use the soy sauce sparingly, and a lot of times I'll use light soy sauce. There are some other variations of soy sauce you can use as well. There's the brand is Golden Boy. It's out of Thailand, I want to say. It's a light soy. It's Golden Boy. I need to look that up. It's called there's dark soy, there's sweet soy, there's Japanese style soy, there's Chinese style soy. There is, I want to say it's called what is it? Golden Boy soy. There you go. So it's soybean sauce, right? It's a Thai light soy sauce. That's it. Or thin soy sauce is the other word for it. I like to use that or a traditional Japanese style light soy sauce. That way, it's not too salty. And then also, if it does get too salty, so salt and acid cancel each other out. So if it gets too salty, you squeeze some lemon juice in there. But look, stir fries, they don't have to be perfect. They're a great way to use up leftovers. I love the challenge of trying to utilize everything that's left in the fridge at the end of the week. However, the stuff that's left in the fridge here at the end of the week is probably, it's not enough to cook with. We have eggs. What do we have in the fridge here? Eggs. I have some German sausages. They're Knäckebrot. They're crunchy sausages. They have a thick outer casing. I have some Weisswurst, white. Yeah, never mind. White wurst. Let's just call it that. What else do I have? What else do we have in there? Beer. We got a lot of beer. There are a couple of big growlers. As a matter of fact, my fellow Spoony partners over there, I don't know why people insist on taking a growler. And if you don't know what a growler is, it's a big, it's like a moonshine jug, but it's made of just brown glass. I don't know why they insist on laying those down when they can stand up on the shelf down below. So they've laid them. I digress. I'm not complaining, but here's what happened. There was a bottle of iced tea, a big jug of iced tea in the refrigerator, and it got stuck right in front of the vent. So, of course, it froze, it cracked open, and when it warmed up again, it leaked all down inside the refrigerator. So I spent time on, I don't know, whatever day it was, Monday, Friday, cleaning the refrigerator out. I took the drawers out, I cleaned the bottom, I cleaned all the shelves where it had dripped, and I made it really nice and clean. And then we had a visitor that brought all these growlers of beer, and they, I don't know what they were thinking, but they laid the, okay, and this was not the visitor. Richard, this is not you, Techru, not you, but the people here, some of our people here, who shall remain nameless, Matt, laid them down on the top shelf. So now, it's dripped down the back of the, they've leaked, and this is a coffee stout. So oatmeal coffee stout. It's leaked down the back of the refrigerator, all the way down behind the and underneath the produce stores at the bottom. And I mean, I'm sure I'll clean it out because it'll sit there for a while if not. But common sense is not so common. All right, so back to tips and tricks. Stir fries. I'm about total utilization. So when you're cooking, a couple of things. Efficiency is key, right? And by efficiency, I mean anything that saves you seconds in a restaurant is a big deal. As a matter of fact, the service line in a restaurant. All right, this thing's bugging me. I'll strangle you later. The microphone keeps falling over. In a restaurant kitchen, the width of the line between the hot cooking equipment and the plating line, well, the expo line, service line, whatever you want to call it, should never be more than 3 feet. Never. And preferably less, because every step is seconds. And, there are ways that you can kind of make things more efficient in the kitchen too. But if you're in a restaurant, this is something that I would teach a young, not necessarily apprentice chef, but a new cook in a restaurant, is that if you're gonna do prep on your station, then bring something that you can put your scraps and trash into, so that you don't have to keep walking to the trash can, or you don't have to steal somebody's trash can. So what I mean is, if I'm prepping on a table in front of me or at my station, but we're closed for service right now, so I'm gonna peel and dice carrots, then I want a metal container, right? I would go with a third pan. So this is like a 5-inch wide, 6-inch deep, and like 8-inch long pan. And all of my scraps I would put in there, and then when I was done, I've finished everything, then I take that and either dump it in the trash, put it in it, well, and that in this case would go in a compost pile, right? But you do the same thing at home. And actually, those probably wouldn't go in a compost pile now that I think about it. They'd be washed and they would be put into a stock pot. So when you're at home, instead of dragging the trash can out of the pantry and pulling it all the way to the your workstation, wherever you're working in the kitchen, just get a little bowl or a square baking pan. It could be a lasagna pan, anything. And then take that and use it for your scraps. It's really convenient. It's very easy, and it's actually very quite efficient. Another thing that I used to do is I would take the paper bags that I got from the grocery store. I would double them up, stand them up, and put them on the floor next to me, and that became my trash bag during prepping. Just make sure you don't throw anything wet in there. Another tip and trick: people always have. You ever have you buy seafood, right? Right, buy seafood, and you skin the seafood. Even if you don't, the bag that it comes in. So I always go to, I typically go to H-E-B or another reputable market, and I buy my seafood, and I say, please, they'll say, do you want ice with that? I always say yes. So they'll wrap the fish in a plastic bag by itself and tie it, and then they put it inside of another plastic bag that already has ice in it, so that the fish never warms up during transportation, because some of the foodborne illnesses that can be born of seafood, especially, or transmitted through seafood, are really, really bad. Like scrambroid toxicity. It's really bad. Just trust me. Yes, I know. How do you say screw you in New York? Trust me. But I'm not in New York anymore, so trust me. That it's not something you want. So you don't want your fish to get warm. And but you get home, you have this bag now that smells like seafood. And what do you do with it? Trash days, and they don't pick up for another 4 days or 5 days. You're stuck with this stinky, smelly, fishy bag. Right, so or maybe you have these fish skins, like maybe you cooked salmon, and when I cook salmon, I'll cook the whole side as one piece, and then I will serve it off of the skin, right? And then once that's done, you have the skin left over, though, right? What do you do with it? Well, take that skin along with your fishy bag, and you put them in the freezer. You put them in an airtight Ziploc bag. Like a quart or a gallon size, depending on how much trash you have that smells like seafood, or whatever it happens to be. Put it in the freezer, and when it comes trash time, then you pull it out and you throw it in the trash. But you have to leave yourself a note on the front of the refrigerator, otherwise you'll forget. And what happens? The freezer starts filling up. Kinsey, not a seafood guy. Well, what are you? What kind of food do you want me to talk about? You're asking for tips and tricks. I'm giving tips and tricks. That's alcohol abuse. Sean, you're funny. Anyway, Stephen, rather. Back to that. Yes, it's a very, very convenient, easy, and smell-proof way to get rid of your seafood scraps. If you have bones that if you get a salmon and you need to pick the bones out, chefs actually use. Here's another thing. Here's a really good tip. Don't try to pick the bones out of trout until it's cooked. Right? If you do it correctly, you can cook a whole trout or sides of trout as long as it's not. If you've cooked the whole trout, it's the easiest. And when you cook the whole trout, you kind of peel the top side off. I'm not head on and gut it. I mean, you gut it and you take the head off, and or you remove the innards. Sorry, I didn't mean to say gut, but you remove the innards, and you kind of eat the top half off. And after you do that, you can peel back the entire skeletal frame. Should come right out of the fish. Trout are really bony fish. They're terrible. I love trout, but what a pain in the butt. It's a lot of that's a lot of bones to work on. I mean, it's just a pain in the rear. So anyway, all right. So what else? Oh, salmon. A lot of times you'll buy a side of salmon, or maybe you don't buy a side of salmon, but I buy a whole side of salmon. And when I buy a whole side of salmon, then it still has what's called the pin bones attached. And the pin bones are, they're basically, they would run, if the fish is swimming forward and it's a salmon, they run horizontally, and they go all the way out to the skin. And they stop, well, they actually connect to the spine, but when you fillet the fish, you fabricate the fish, not dissect, Patrick. But when you fabricate the fish and you remove the tougher part of the skeleton, it leaves these pin bones. Now, you can buy these really fancy tweezers to do it, but if you get a good set of needle nose pliers and use them just for this, and you want them kind of thin, you can use the bent ones. I don't know what they're called, but the ones that have kind of a curved nose to them. You can use those, or just plain straight needle nose pliers, or really good. Sorry, Jeffrey Klein, I'm on the air. Really good tweezers. They make fish tweezers, actually tweezers for pulling these little pin bones out of fish. But the needle nose pliers work the best. And what you do is you don't grab the very tip of the bone. You have to push down inside the flesh just a little, like an eighth of an inch. Grab the tip, the top of the bone, and you pull that pin bone out. And it's gonna be kind of it's gonna have a lot of resistance because it's actually attached to the skin on the outside of the fish. So, or just really close to the fish, where the skin, where the there's a fatty tissue area. So anyway, that's all right. I know not everyone likes seafood, but I'm going to tell you about the seafood because that's what I know. I'm sorry. Stephen L. says, I'm not huge into fishing. I'm not very good at cooking fish, but I do love eating it. So here's a good trick. If I'm going to give away one of my friend's best recipes ever. So one way to cook fish on a grill, right, is to... if it's, say, salmon, we'll stick with salmon today. We're going to eat salmon. That's it. If you take salmon, like a side of salmon, a side, it's called a fletch in the restaurant. It's one side, the right or left side of the fish, and it's basically deboned, but the skin is still attached, right? The fin should not be there, and there's a fatty belly part. It's white. That should not be intact. That should be removed, right? It's a very thin part of the flesh with a thicker fat cap that's part of the belly structure. That should be removed. And so you have this beautiful side of salmon. Now, what do you do with it? Well, you can cut it into fillets, and you can bake them in the oven. You can pan-sear one side, flip it over, and then finish it in the oven. You can do all sorts of fancy sauces, rubs, blackened, grilled, broiled, poached. Oh, poached salmon. I haven't had poached salmon in a long time. The fact that they even make salmon poaching like a salmon poacher, I'd forgotten all about that. I hadn't thought about that in years. Okay, so back on track, Patrick. If you're not sure what to do with it, take the whole side of salmon and lay out tin foil. So I buy the heavy duty industrial restaurant width big, huge, very heavy. I mean, it's very, very heavy. Those rolls weigh like 30 pounds. I buy that, but I buy that kind of stuff, even for the house. And so with that, make sure it's wide enough that when you wrap it over the salmon. So if you have a giant piece of salmon, this won't work. But the typical 5-6 pound side of salmon would be perfect. Maybe could be a little heavier. But you, I typically spray, even though I'm not going to eat the skin. I typically spray the. Actually, on this one, don't spray it. You're just going to put the salmon inside of the foil, right in the middle, and then you're going to take. You ever seen that sweet Thai chili sauce that comes the sweet chili sauce that comes in a bottle? It's got big red pepper. It's got big piece of like red pepper in there. It's basically, if you make it, it's sugar, water, lime, chili flake, and takes forever because you have to boil it and reduce it. But if you buy it, you just open the bottle and sprinkle it on whatever you're eating. Well, you take about a half a bottle and you just smother that salmon with it, and then you fold the top over and you seal the ends, and now you have this basically this. It's like a big a hot pocket, but it's salmon, right? Instead of pizza rolls. And again, if somebody's going to call in, please let me know. If I do not answer right away, let me know you're on the line. I'm expecting a couple people. Maybe Greg might call in next hour. Anyway, then you put it back on the grill. Put the grill on medium. Medium. What does that mean? It's medium. I don't care if it's your grill, my grill, his grill. Grill, not girl. Her grill, their grill, our grill. Put it on the grill. All right. It's about 20 minutes. Maybe a little less. But what'll happen is that the tin foil, the aluminum foil, starts to puff up. And it'll start to steam. You can see the steam coming out in a few places. That's typically an indication that it's pretty much done. At that point, you can remove the whole package from the grill, that whole kind of aluminum foil packet. And you can cook this on the instead of putting it right on the lower grill that you would grill a steak on, you can put on that warming rack that's up above, and that's a good place to cook it. All right, so when it's done, you take it off, and then you just open that big, that steam pocket up. And this is kind of there's a French technique called en papote, and it means it's basically in paper. It's cooked in a paper, parchment paper envelope. And what you do is you take a side of fish, like a fillet of fish, put some vegetable seasoning, whatever else you want in there, and then you take a parchment paper and you fold it over, and it looks like a half moon when you're done. You have to put these little fancy creases in it. This is way easier, right? Way simpler. So when you open it up, there's this big flash. It's this big rush of steam that comes out. So be careful. Don't put your face over the top of the aluminum foil. Always open it away from you, right? And the aroma is amazing because the salmon doesn't smell overly fishy. You get that great sweet chili lime, smell. It's unbelievable. It's probably one of my favorite ways to prepare salmon. Although, as a purist, you're not really tasting the salmon at that point so much. I mean, you are, but there's a lot of sauce on it. So it's one of my favorites. That could just be served with plain rice. Seafood. I could talk about seafood all day. As a matter of fact, I'm going to talk about even if he doesn't call, I'm going to talk about I'm going to continue talking about shark because I think it's one of the best fish out there, and it's a great substitute for swordfish. Right? Travis Watkins says, "I don't eat fish, so I don't know what's good, but the wife loves it, so any tips are good for me. I could eat a burger every day, though. Ooh, me too. As a matter of fact, if you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or more specifically Fort Worth, Griff's, this cool little hamburger joint right down the road. Griff's is open again. It burned down. It's been around forever, and apparently it burned down about 6-8 months ago. I was kind of brokenhearted because I was getting ready. I actually went there to eat lunch, and it was burnt down to the ground. Bummer. Anyway, they have a brand new fancy restaurant now. I wonder if the food tastes the same because typically once you get rid of that old seasoned grill, it does not taste the same. So anyways, decided to eat a burger every day, though. There's so many different ways to top one. I'll never get bored of them. That's a good point. There really isn't. It's a never-ending decision what to put on your burger. All I can tell you is there's an order that the ingredients need to go in. There is. As a matter of fact, you should, if you really want to know, I'd go back. I would listen to, who was that? The chef from Trey's Chowdown. On Trey's Chowdown Live a couple weeks ago, they had the chef from Gas Monkey, I think. Yeah. So he talks about the order of the stack. What goes on bottom, what goes on top. It was actually very cool. You got to think about when you bite through from the bottom of a burger, what's on your tongue? The bread. And then what? There's really nothing, right? The burger. Everything else is piled on top. So all those flavors, they miss your tongue completely. Your bite, they hit the roof of your mouth, not your tongue. And until you chew it all up, you really don't get the flavor. So it was actually a really cool point that he made. And he talks about the order of layering that you should put your burger together. So go back. I'll look it up and tell you which episode it was, but I think it was 3 weeks ago. Yeah, that was actually a really good episode. Trey's Chat on Life. Trey Chapin, it does a great show every Friday live right here. He's on from 10 to 11 Central, 11 to noon on the East Coast. We got a lot of great shows. I'm really anxious to hear what Randy says next week on Into the Fire. That's Randy White on Mondays. And not to mention, not to forget, Gwen Rich goes live next Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So stay tuned. I'll be back in 4 minutes. Chef Patrick Mosher, Food Biz Pro. Hang tight.
This is the only 24-hour take-anywhere platform dedicated to food and fun. We're Spoony.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. At today's House Appropriations Committee hearing, Attorney General William Barr says that he will send a redacted version of the Mueller report to Congress within a week.
Barr says he's working closely with the special counsel's office on that report.
We will color code the excisions from the report, and we will provide explanatory notes describing the basis for each redaction.
Barr rejected calls to make the full report public.
That would be unfortunate because, there's grand jury information in there that under the law has to be redacted.
Barr's comments came at a budget hearing on Capitol Hill. He's agreed to testify in depth on the report early next month.
Capitol Hill correspondent Wally Hines reporting. The White House is blasting a federal judge who has blocked the administration's asylum policy.
President Trump is criticizing the ruling of a judge on the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals who blocked the administration's policy of returning asylum seekers to Mexico as they wait for an immigration hearing.
We have a judge that just ruled incredibly that he doesn't want people staying in Mexico. Figure that one out.
Press Secretary Sarah Sanders blamed a liberal activist judge for the decision and said the president will do whatever it takes to keep Americans safe. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Also at townhall.com, British Prime Minister Theresa May is meeting French President Macron in Paris to discuss the possibility of a further delay to Brexit. The UK is scheduled to leave the bloc in a couple of days. The number of available jobs in the U.S. fell sharply in February after reaching a record level the previous month, a sign that businesses may pull back a bit on hiring. The Labor Department says job openings fell 7.1% to 7.1 million, the lowest level in nearly a year. On Wall Street, the Dow off 181 points. The NASDAQ is down 35. More on these stories at townhall.com.
It looks like you're losing.
I am.
Are you losing weight?
I am losing. I've lost about 10 pounds.
How are you doing it?
It's a funny name, but I've done it with Riduzone, RIDUzone.com, and the stuff works. It's, you get into all that, the molecule this and the found in that. All I can tell you is it makes you feel full, and it keeps your mind off of wanting to overeat.
And also boosts your metabolism, so you're burning more.
Yeah,
Try it today. It's going to work for you like it's worked for Brad and countless other people. Riduzone.com, RIDUzone.com.
If you're trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252. 800-296-1252, 800-296-1252. Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
And we're back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Tuesday? It's only Tuesday? Okay, it's still Tuesday. Just checking. So my buddy, my business partner, Jeffrey Klein, just called, during the last half hour. I didn't take his call, obviously, because I'm on the air. And so he's actually going to meet a friend of ours. And he's actually a quite famous chef. I don't know if everyone knows who he is, but it's Chef Mako. I don't know if anybody knows that, but pretty accomplished chef, I have to say. And we're working on a couple of projects. One in the Northeast, all seafood based. Anyway, Chef Mako's a pretty amazing chef. Worked for. Now, look it up yourself. Worked for Wolfgang Puck for a long time. Was the chef at a very famous restaurant in Santa Monica. Actually, great restaurant, man. I'm not going to go too much into that, but I'm really looking forward to this because Jeffrey's going to sit down. He's going to talk seafood and menu concept and try and flesh out what we've come up with one of the best chefs, I think, in the United States. Way downplayed his experience and his accomplishments. So should be interesting. We will find out. Matter of fact, we're working on several projects right now. I'm looking at we were looking at a couple of spaces here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. One actually up near what is it called? The Colony. There's another chef we've worked with in the past that's opening a restaurant there. Supposed to be. It's 2 years delayed. But anyway, we had a concept that isn't anything like his, and we were unable to work with him on that project. But we saw the value in building something up on that side of town. It's just it's booming up there. I mean, it is just explosive, the growth. Look, I lived in Houston for a long time, 16, 17 years, and I think that other than certain parts of LA, it is the worst traffic I've ever seen. But I'm telling you, Dallas-Fort Worth, the traffic isn't great. I mean, it's congested, but man, they have 1,500 highways here. I don't know where any of them go, and they all seem to change numbers, or they just they run over the top of another one, and it's got both numbers, like the 183 and the 121. They just follow on top of each other, and they split off, and they come back together. I don't understand it. Why just call it one name, right? And then there's some that have a number, but they don't call by the number. They call them by the John Carpenter Freeway. Well, what number is the John Carpenter Freeway? I think it's the 114, but it's very confusing. L.A., as hard as it is to get around, because it's just congested and people don't they don't care if I don't think they care if you hit them. I really don't. But LA at least only has like 5 freeways, right? And they're all you got the 101, the 5, the 10. Oh man, looks like I'm gonna be the only one left in the building. Ronaldinho, you heading out, or are you just freezing over there? He puts his coat on. So Matt Locke and I like it really cold in the studios. I'm what you like to call an overheater, so I can just, if I reach over and pick up a glass off the floor, I break a sweat. I don't know why, but it's good. My metabolism's up there. But yeah, so we like it really cold in the studios. And poor Ron's always got a fleece on over there. Poor guy. Anyway, hey, I was talking about Trey's Chowdown, and if you missed the episode with Chef Hollister from Gas Monkey, go check it out. It's a very entertaining episode. And actually, if you missed the one with Chef Stefan this last week, Friday, man, I'm telling you what, that was a pretty spectacular interview. He's a really funny guy. If you don't know who he is, Stefan Richel, he actually won Top Chef. He won Top Chef. I don't remember what year it was, several years back, but he's got a new restaurant opening. It's called Wishbone and Flint right here in Fort Worth. Cool guy, very cool guy. And actually, he was there's Max's Wine Bar or Max's Wine Dive. It was not a chain, but a regional collection of I guess they're a small regional chain, but there were a couple in Dallas, there were a couple in Houston. I think they had a couple of others as well, but he was their chef for a while, long time actually, and man, it was a great place. And it's still around. He's just not there anymore. He does his own stuff. But check it out, Stefan Richel, and that's STEFON RISHEL. If you've ever watched Top Chef before, he was the guy that he had a little baby mohawk then, but he's got a big mohawk now. It's like 11 inches tall on his head. But he had a small one then. I think it was blue. I think he had a goatee dyed the same color. Anyway, it was a very good, that year was actually a very tough year. So congrats to him for winning, and congrats to Trey for having such a he's got such a great show. It's a lot of fun. So check it out. Trey's Chowdown live. It's live on Fridays right here on Spoony Radio. Again, that's 10 to 11 Central, 11 to 12 Eastern. All right, so back to kitchen tips and tricks. Actually, somebody said, I'm not on the page, but I'm typing on another page right now, but they had said one of the tricks that they used when they were eating trout is that they had toast with peanut butter as a standby to get any bones that got caught in your throat from the trout. And actually, it makes sense because bread wouldn't necessarily do it. It's doughy, but it's not jagged enough, right? Once you chew it up. So, but if you had toast, right, that jagged, dry toast with the peanut butter on there, I would think that's actually a pretty handy thing. Just wash it right down. Who'd have thunk it? All right, so. I know. I shouldn't be typing while I'm doing this. This is like somebody looking at their phone while you're eating dinner with them, but I'm trying to keep up with stuff here, folks. It's this important business. Very important. I'm ordering new socks online, okay? So leave me alone. I think that's a great idea. I got to try it. Well, I don't know if I can try that because I'm not sure if I can ever plan. You know what? I can. I will go buy some smoked trout because they inevitably get one little bone stuck in the throat. All right. I can't tell you what the episode is about, but if anyone has ever seen Curb Your Enthusiasm, it's not a trout like a trout bone that gets caught in his throat, but something gets caught in Larry David's throat, and he keeps walking around going trying to get it out of his throat. I can't tell you what it is because it's it would be crass, maybe? Impolite? It's too close to lunchtime. I just can't tell you. But anyway, funny episode. You have to look that one up. All right. So we are back to kitchen tips and tricks. I'm trying to think. The thing is, I don't think of what I do as being tricks, right? I do what I know to do in the kitchen. They don't seem like hacks, time savers. They're just pretty much what I do. Oh, you know what? If you don't have a piping bag, this is a good one. If you don't have a piping bag and you need to write a name on a birthday cake, or you need to fill up here's a good one. If you have to fill a squirt bottle or something with a sauce, right? Like a mayonnaise-based sauce, or I'm sorry, a yuzu aioli, right? Aioli. It's mayonnaise, folks. 9 times out of 10, it's mayonnaise that they just mixed with other ingredients. I'm sorry. I'm telling you the truth. 9 times out of 10, it's what they it's exactly what I just said. They take mayonnaise, they put some flavoring in it, and then they just call it aioli. I'm sorry. I know, I didn't mean to break your hearts. But yeah, if you need to fill up a squirt bottle with that, then what I do is I fill up a gallon or quart baggie. I cut the corner off of it, and then just use that to squirt things in. When you get really good at it, you can actually just take in Japanese restaurants, believe it or not, we use a lot of Kewpie mayonnaise, right? Or sauces. There's a variety of sauces that we use, but some are actually thicker sauces like a mayonnaise-based dressing. And so we actually just take plain old, believe it or not, plain old cellophane wrap. You put the plastic wrap out there on the table. You make a big mound of whatever the mayonnaise-based. It can't be runny. It has to have body to it, like mayonnaise. But you put a big pile right there in the middle. You lift up the ends, twist it, and you poke a hole in the bottom, and you actually squirt that right into the squeeze bottle. Yes, I know it sounds like you're going to make a mess, and usually you do for like the first 5, 6, 7, 10 times. But it actually that's a really easy way and a very inexpensive way. You're not wasting a lot of plastic, and you're not. Yes, I know it is still insensitive because we're using plastic for something that I know, but I'm trying to think how else do you get mayonnaise in a squeeze bottle? Answer me that. Riddle me this. That's the easiest way. I'm just saying. But the trick of using the piping bag, using a quart container or a Ziploc baggie as a piping bag works. You can actually, if you do it right, and you have the thicker like gallon baggies, you can actually use piping like decorating tips. And you can put them inside the quart bag or the storage bag, and it works really well. So that's one. I can't do the whole hour. I can't do this whole hour of kitchen tips and tricks, but I will look up some more every Tuesday afternoon. I will give you several. Yeah, should be kind of cool. Should be fun. I mean, there are so many of them out there. So one of the things that here's another one. Remember I talked about putting plastic wrap down when you're using rice in your kitchen? If you're in a hurry and you're making like pie dough, and you need to roll out your crust for a pie, what happens when you take the crust out of the fridge because it rests in the fridge to allow the gluten to relax, so you have a nice flaky crust instead of a tough chewy crust, which would be more like French bread. And who wants a pie crust that's got the texture of French bread? No one. So what you do is you let it rest, right, in the refrigerator for up to an hour, however long you do that. And when you pull it out, inevitably, the counter is warmer than the dough. So what happens? What happens is the butter or the fat in the dough melts on the countertop, and even doesn't matter how well you flour the counter, you end up with a mess, right? So you can actually, believe it or not, there are a couple of things. They have those big rolling pin. They have the pads that show you the diameter of what size crust you're using. Those are actually handy because I always make. Damn it. Stupid microphone. I always make my pie crust too small. And so then I'm stuck with a lopsided too small pie crust that I'm trying to hodgepodge together, right? I don't know. It's a pain in the ass. Sorry. Oh, did I say that out loud? It's a pain in the butt. So what's really cool is to get those big mats that you roll out. They just roll up. They store wherever you put your pantry items. They're a little big to go in a drawer typically, but they have like 8, 10, 12 inch diameter measured out on the surface. They're really handy. So if you need 2 10-inch pie crusts, you measure it out, 2 10-inch, just roll it out to that. So that's one way to keep your counter clean as well. Now, if you're in a hurry, you just wipe the counter down, throw that in the sink, come back and wash it later. But you don't want to leave all that stuff on your counter. So the other thing you can do, which I mentioned before, is you can cover it with plastic wrap. And believe it or not, it does work. You flour it just like you do the surface of the counter, but then you don't get that the oil, the butter, or whatever fat you're using down into those cracks and crevices, because almost every countertop surface is fairly anybody call in? Nope. Nobody call. All right, so is fairly porous, right? Yes, some less than others, but anyway. All right, so back to fish. I know not everybody likes fish. Oh, Kinsey Richards says yes. Well, thank you, sir. Okay, I feel less cheated now. That was funny. So Kinsey says, we used to catch catfish and keep them alive in water in a cooler. Place the cooler to catch water dripping from the AC to help them keep air in the water until we're ready for them. Huh. That makes sense. Very cool. Never thought about that. We just caught him and ate him. So there's some alternative fish that I really like. One is shark, and everybody seems to think that mako shark is the best. That's the consensus that I've heard. I like mako shark. It's pretty good. What I really like is what's called thresher shark. And in California, especially in San Diego, day boaters would go out and catch them all the time, and they would take them to the seafood vendors, and then they would call and say, "Hey, we have X number of pounds of green thresher or pelagic shark." It's not really called green thresher shark. I think there's common thresher shark, there's pelagic thresher shark. There's several of them, but I think it's the common, which is what we call a green. Anyway, pelagic is fine. It's pelagic. They eat smaller pelagic fish. I think that's why they call pelagic shark, pelagic thresher shark. But the flesh is a little. It's dense, almost meaty-like, but it's got a unique flavor. It's very much like swordfish. Not as close as mako shark is, but it's pretty darn close. Mako shark, you could almost pass it off as swordfish. The thing that's unique about swordfish, and if you know your swordfish, then you might know this. Let's see if anybody knows the answer. How do you know if it's swordfish? Typically, there's a specific shape that swordfish is cut in. Does anyone know? Anyone out there? Bueller? Anyone? No, I'm still trying to scroll down and find out exactly where everything is. Let's see. All the comments. I'm not seeing all the comments today. And also, there are just so many different... I have so many streams on this now, I don't even know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to find stuff. So, all right. Somebody probably said it, but here's the deal. It's typically served... swordfish is almost always in like a triangular shape. It'll have one side that's got the gray skin of the swordfish, and then it'll have two. It'll be shorter. That'll be the shorter side of the triangle. What kind of triangle is that? Somebody figure that out. I don't know. Geometry was my strong suit many years ago, but that was almost 40 years ago. So we'll just say no. But that shorter side should have the skin of the fish, and the other two longer sides are just going to be the color of the fish. But typically, swordfish will have like a red streak through it, and it'll be typically it could be it's typically towards the tip, about 2/3 of the way up the length of of that fillet, that cut. Then it'll have like a red streak through it. And that's how you tell it's swordfish. It's one of my favorite fish. If swordfish is cooked correctly, properly, if it's cooked properly, then it should be really moist. It really should. And moist, you can't say moist. To hell with all you people that are offended by the word moist. It's moist, all right? What else do you call something that has water content on it? I said this yesterday, but it's got water content. It is not dry. What do you call it? Not dry? No, you call it moist. Jeez, get over it. Man, people with dirty minds. What's up with the teenage kids now that you can't say that around them? Oh, by the way, at the end of the show, our friend Travis Watkins, he sent this milder ghost pepper salsa. Call your friends and family. Have them watch because I'm going to try it. And I'm kind of I'm not a big super duper hot food fan. I like heat. I can go up to habaneros, not a problem. Not really anyway, till later. And but ghost chili scares the hell out of me. But it says right there, medium and hot. It's right in between. So they're saying medium hot. But I mean, look, a ghost chili or the Carolina Reapers, that's like a million units on the Scoville units on the chart. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. I don't know. What do y'all think? Should I eat it? Try it? I mean, I'm not going to eat a lot of this. I'm going to put a little bit on that dry bagel right there, just a little bit. I have my water handy. I should have brought milk, but it's in the fridge in there. Maybe I'll go grab that at the bottom of the hour. Anyway, I am not eating a whole bunch of it, but I want to try it. Yeah, it's a shame that Greg didn't call in. I really want to talk to. I really want to talk to him about the Mako shark that they had. I wanted to know specifically how are they preparing it. Again, shark is a denser fish, so it's a lot like swordfish. Typically, it's grilled, although you can do all sorts of preparations with it. There's actually a great way to make swordfish that it doesn't seem like it's so like oceany. It doesn't seem like you're at the ocean seaside with it's just fish with some lemon juice, right? Whatever, lemon wedge on the side. But you season the swordfish with garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper, and some spray olive oil, or just brush olive oil on there. Put the seasoning on, grill it, and when it comes off, you actually take a condensed version, how do you explain it? It's a almost like a balsamic vinaigrette reduction. It's like a ultra flavorful balsamic vinaigrette, and you take that, and at the end you just kind of ladle that over the top, and it kind of and you keep it cold, but when it warms up and it kind of flows over the fish, it starts to drip down the sides. It is one of the best flavors I've ever had on swordfish. Unbelievable. I don't even know where I made that recipe up or where I got it from. I got an idea from another dish at some point a long time ago, but that was one of our biggest selling dishes in San Diego. Maybe you don't like fishy fish, right? Maybe you like things like halibut, which halibut, I think when it's in season, halibut's one of my favorite fish, all-time favorite fish. And it's halibut's not quite as flaky, and it's also not quite as fishy as like Chilean sea bass, which is the the Patagonian toothfish, I think is the real name for it. And it's not, well, it's probably just about as expensive. It's around $30 a pound somewhere. It's ridiculous nowadays, but that's what the market will demand, and the better that than overfish. So halibut, if you get a really big halibut, you think about people going, if you've ever lived along the coast, the third coast here, the Gulf Coast, then people go gigging for halibut, right? You basically walk in the shallows at night and you spear, not halibut, but flounder. And flounder is basically a flatfish. All flatfish are one interesting thing. I think it's all flatfish. Yeah, they must be this way. Flatfish don't start out with, they don't start out swimming with one side on the bottom of the ocean, right? They're not born that way. That's not how they hatch. That's not how they're designed. They actually transition into that fish. So they're a regular, upright swimming fish, and then they start to turn. And what's interesting is that there's an eye on each side of their head, and that one eye actually migrates. Yes, I know it sounds bizarre and probably a little disgusting, but that eye actually migrates to the other side of their head once they start to lie on the bottom. Isn't that the weirdest thing ever? The fact that man, I thought the platypus was a weird thing, but the fact that flatfish, that eye migrates through the head all completely, I don't understand how that could happen, but it does. So halibut, really quickly. You take a big, nice, thick piece of halibut, 2 inches thick, 6 inches long, 3 inches wide. You cut a pocket in the top of that, and what you do is you take a mixture of crab meat. Oh, Kinsey Richard, moist. Yep. That's right. Isosceles, yes. Probably isosceles triangle. I don't know. Patrick, did you try my hot sauce that I sent? Yes, I did, Pat. I did. Excellent stuff. Does cooking in milk help with fishiness? I don't know. Good question. I don't usually poach things in milk unless it's like sweetbreads, which is the pituitary gland of a cow. So veal. Most people don't eat that. All right, real quick. You cut a pocket 2 inches wide and about 2 inches deep in that in the fish, right? And then you take a mixture of brie cheese, which you break up really small, dice it, chop it up as small as you can, crab meat, right, and some seasoning, a little salt, pepper. You can put your own magic ingredients in, a little garlic maybe, and you stuff that pocket full of that crab meat and brie, and then you start to cook the fish with that brie and crab meat facing down. So you put it in a hot pan, you sear that side till it's golden brown, then you flip it over. And then if you have a griddle, it works in a restaurant, you actually put the fish there and we put water underneath, we cover it with a bowl and we let it steam. If not, you can actually throw an ice cube in the pan, put another saute pan on top of your saute pan, put it in the oven at 400, 450 and let it steam that way. Then as the fish is done, you actually serve it with a grapefruit beurre blanc. Oh man, a butter, basically a butter, grapefruit, caper sauce. Oh man, sprinkle of fresh parsley on there. Damn, that's some good eating. All right, I'll be right back. I'll put that recipe out at some point. I always say that. I probably won't. Stay tuned.
Follow Chef Patrick Mosher on Twitter @FoodBiz.
Got an old car? You can donate it, whether it's running or not, to the United Breast Cancer Foundation and save a life. They'll even come and pick it up for free. The United Breast Cancer Foundation has saved hundreds of women's lives through their free or low-cost breast screen exams. But now they need your help. The United Breast Cancer Foundation wants to save more lives through early detection by offering women free or low-cost breast screening exams. And donating your old car, SUV, or truck, whether it's running or not, helps pay for them. Plus, you get a charitable tax deduction. Help the United Breast Cancer Foundation save lives by donating your old car, SUV, or truck. Call now for free pickup. 800-245-0823. 800-245-0823. 800-245-0823. Call right now. That number again is 800-245-0823.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-452-1075. 800-452-1075. That's 800-452-1075.
Never Forgotten Apparel is more than just a premium women's and men's clothing line. It's a movement to remind us to wear American-made and serve those who serve us. Our heroes. Never Forgotten Apparel gives 20% of their total sales to nonprofits that support homeless veterans and off-duty firefighters, and 50% to individual veterans and firefighters in need nationwide. Check out neverforgottenapparel.com. Use promo code MATT, M-A-T-T, and get 15% off your purchase.
So either I'm continuing the lie or I didn't make it up. But so Travis Watkins goes, Travis says, seriously, my grandfather told me that when I was about 6 or 7, and I thought he was screwing with me. Nope. The eye actually migrates to the other side of the head. Pat Gamera says, flounder and sole is good. I love, cooking a whole sole, like a small flatfish, is that's a super classic way of serving it. A very, very classic French preparation, and one of the worst dining experiences of my life. Well, not my life, but recent dining experiences was really not one that the fish was excellent, but basically it was whole Dover sole. It was served at a very famous Chicago restaurant I will not identify because I'm hoping they will have a chance to redeem themselves at some point. But that dinner was like a comedy of errors, right? I ordered the whole Dover sole, and they what was the sauce? All right, so they bring out the Dover sole, which was fine. All right, and the server, so what happens, this is a very elegant presentation. So the server comes out and they take sorry, I gotta adjust here. I've never sat so much in my entire life. I feel fat. I feel out of shape. My joints ache from sitting down all the time. I'd rather my feet hurt from standing 20 hours a day than feel like this. How do people do this? How do you sit in an office, 70 hours a week, folks? Man, get in the kitchen, move around, work your body, get a couple burns, feel alive. Rubs, squeeze a lemon right after you nick your finger. Yeah, that'll keep you going, keep you motivated. Or You'll quit the kitchen, one or the other. Yeah, and you notice I'm waiting to the end of the show to try the hot sauce, because if I start crying like a little baby, then I don't want to hear it. Oh, you know what, though? You know what isn't hot and not spicy? Products from our very good friends, Jay and Lori, up at Nostalgia, up in Minnesota. Memories from Minnesota's Northwoods. Nostalgia, I can't spell it. I can barely say it. Go to SpoonyWildRice.com. Wild rice. Yes, they have a lot of wild rice, but you know what? They have some other awesome products. Whipped maple honey. Look, if you don't like maple and you don't like honey, you'll like this anyway. As long as you're not allergic to maple or honey, try it. I guarantee it. You'll like it. Trust me, Mikey. Or, hey, he hates everything, right? I never got that commercial. I always thought he said he eats everything, not he hates everything. So, and this one here, this is actually a Gold Imperial IPA beer jelly. This is made from grapes from their own vineyard. This is kind of nostalgic right here. This is made from the only native grape to North America, Vitis vinifera. I've told you the story of why the French hate us, because we killed all their old vines, because there's a mite that lives in the vine, in the rootstock. We took them over there to Europe, and they basically decimated everything. But you know what? We don't care here, because it didn't decimate our crops. And Dr. Claude, I'm very sorry. I'm not trying to. Dr. Claude is the author of The Avocado Affair. It's a book I'm helping work on some nutritional stuff for. Very, very renowned nutritionist, and just I don't know how many PhDs she has, but it's crazy. But anyway, so as that comes closer, no, we've never really met. I'm just helping work on this project. We never met face to face, but as this comes to fruition, then you'll have your chance to get the book, The Avocado Affair, right here on Spoony Radio. But anyway, this is stuff they make this stuff by hand themselves. They really do. I'm not joking you. Yep, they squeeze the juice from these grapes by hand. Yeah, Lucy and Ethel weren't around to stomp the grapes. So, no, look, they're fantastic people, wonderful products. Try them out. That's SpoonyWildRice.com. I don't know if there's a promo going on right now, but you can try Spring 10. I think it was only to the end of last month. Try anyway. Spring 10, get you 10% discount. If it doesn't work, email in. We'll let you know if there's a current promotion. I'm sure Tom, who's not here today, our VP of Sales, I'm sure he knows. I will have to ask him. So, if it doesn't work, my bad. Hold off a day. I'll get you the right promo code. There you go. All right. So, but maybe you do. Maybe you change your diet. And look, I'm going to get them all in at one time. Maybe you just ate too much of something, or maybe you do have a little bit of maybe your stomach doesn't feel good after you eat certain things. Maybe it's maple or honey, right? God forbid. Nope, it's not that. Maybe it's the hot sauce. Well, go to Atrantil. That's what you turn to. I would tell you all this stuff, but basically it promotes overall digestive health. And if you've not seen the show, The Gut Check Project, the co-hosts are Dr. Kenneth Brown, gastroenterologist, and Eric Rieger, and he's got a whole bunch of letters behind his name too. But they have an amazing show. I mean, they've hosted people every guests. Well, it's a wide variety. They host. I was the guest one week. They've had a medical marijuana expert. Whom else was a cancer survivor last week? Fantastic story. Whom else? Anyway, the Gut Check Project is live here Thursdays right here on Spoony Radio. If you go to Facebook, it's on Spoony.com, or you can go to iHeartRadio, go to the Spoony channel, and I believe it's also up on Spreaker on podcast, and then also you can see it on the Spoony Radio YouTube channel, or you can go to the Gut Check Project on YouTube and see it there. If you go to Love My Tummy /Spoony, you'll get a special discount, and I think it's 10 or 15%, but it's worth it. Trust me. Change your diet. Don't change your diet. Still having some abdominal discomfort? Atrantil. LoveMyTummy.com. Just try it, man. Just try it. I hate my stomach hurts. I can't eat. Well, try it. Can't hurt you, right? All right. So back to the crazy stuff I've eaten. I'm going to try one more today. This is not so crazy as perhaps stupid, right? You know, I said that people never used to play tricks in restaurants. I've never seen anybody do anything devious. I'll get back to the stupid food things. I've eaten so many weird, bizarre things that I'm not sure it's worth talking about. But, I've told the stories before. So there was a guy that that I worked with in Denver. And this I think is the only time that someone had did something maybe unsavory to a guest that I recall. And it was when these really wicked hot sauces first came out. And the first one was of course, what was it? Dave's Insanity Sauce, right? Everybody remember that? And it was pretty, well, for that time, it was really hot, right? Dave's Insanity Sauce. Why do you think it's called Dave's Insanity Sauce, right? And that heat lingered. But there was a guy who, I guess he had kind of pissed off one of the sushi chefs at this place I was working in Denver, and I was managing the shift. I wasn't there. I was in the back doing orders. It was a slow afternoon. And he said not spicy on a roll. And he, this chef, I won't say your name, John. His name is John. I won't say your other name the way you say it in Japanese, but John, we'll call him Jim. I'm sorry, not John, it's Jim. So Jim takes a toothpick, and this was it's a hosomaki, a very skinny roll. It's basically, there's enough for 1 or 2 ingredients inside. So you can do, you can put negi toro, which is, negi is, what do you call it? Green onion, right? And that's with fatty tuna, or you could do negi hamo, which is hamachi, which is yellowtail. But it's just 2 ingredients, so it's basically the really finely sliced green onion with that other ingredient. You can just do tuna. You can just do cucumber. Cucumber, it traditionally has sesame seeds inside, but the wrapper's on the outside. It's about a 1-inch across roll. It's a wrapper, the seaweed wrapper, laver is what it's called, nori. That rice ingredient in the middle, roll it up. That's it. It's hosomaki, skinny roll. That's what they call it. Well, he takes a toothpick and proceeds to baste the inside of this skinny roll, and they send it to the table. And I thought this guy was going to throw a conniption. Or have a conniption fit. I think it's what my mother used to say. That poor guy, I felt badly for him, and I had to reprimand the employee. But it's not cool. I have never seen, when you send food back to the kitchen, we spoke about this last week, Tom, director of sales or VP of sales, and I did. You don't do that. You don't spit in people's food. You don't wipe it across the floor and then throw it back. You just don't do that. I've never, ever, ever seen people do that. And mostly because they're afraid of losing their job, right? Here we go. Travis Wagner says, get some Blair's Ultra Death Sauce. That stuff is brutal. 1 drop will make a large pot of anything spicy. No, I don't want that. I'm just saying. I'm going to stick with this medium hot Midland Ghost Pepper Sauce. And, for some reason, they have a way, apparently, of, quote, they grow a milder version of the ghost pepper that gives it the flavor of ghost peppers without being crazy spicy. Hope you enjoy. Travis, I'm trusting you. Travis. Yes, you, Travis. I don't want Blair's Ultra Death Sauce because I'm going to try the stuff you sent. And I'm telling you, if you're messing with me, I'm going to hunt you down. Not really. I don't have time for that. I'll just, I'll wait it out. I'm a pretty tough guy. I don't like Ultra. If I can't taste in an hour after eating this, I'm going to be really pissed. Just saying. All right, so Stephen Alves, remind me that in a few months, I have a friend that's painting 60 of these monstrous cabbage plants. They were talking about steaming cabbage. All right. So, you just don't do that to people, right? You just don't do it. So, now back to the crazy food. Nutria. We talked about Nutria. It's a big rat, basically. It's between a rat and a beaver. I don't know, somewhere like or otter. It's like an otter and a beaver, but it's taller, shorter, and fatter. So that's a Nutria. Little gamey. It's like a swamp rat, basically. Not my favorite. Nah, not even close to my favorite. But I would eat it if I was hungry. I was starving in a swamp. I'd eat Nutria. And back in I think it was mid 90s, maybe late 90s, Nutria was going to be the new game meat, baby. It's like all the ostrich farms in the 80s, right? Late 70s, up and through the 80s, early 90s. Next was Nutria. Well, it didn't happen that way. Sorry. It didn't happen. Just the flavor's not there. I'm telling you, ostrich tastes a damn hell of a lot better than Nutria. Just saying. I've had bear, kind of greasy. Mountain lion, similar to bear, and not quite as gamey and greasy, but still pretty gamey. Anything that works their muscles, their muscle fibers that much it's gonna have a very strong flavor. Let's see. CKK. All right. Let me set the scene here. being in Japan, there was a lot of crazy food I ate. I talked about surume ika. Surume ika is it's like a cuttlefish. It's a very small squid, and they flatten them, and then they dry them. Okay, no big deal. So dried squid, right? Well, no, it's not. So it's not that it tastes bad. It's the way you prepare it in your home. So in Japan, typically, I never had a real kitchen in Japan. I just had basically there was a valve in the kitchen that you slid a hose onto, which went to your range, which was a 2-burner range. You could buy them a couple $100, literally, for this little tiny 2-burner range that had good. It was better than like the ones that take the little cassettes of propane, right? That we use for catering, but overall, not real high BTU. Right, a really high BTU kitchen burner may have 18 or 20,000. Those have like 5, maybe 6. Oh yeah, maybe 8. But then, the cassette burner ones, they probably have 5. So it's nothing like a real stove. But that was what you had to cook on because most kitchens didn't have a full kitchenette built in. You had to build it out, right? That was the standard. So you take this surume ika, this flattened dried squid, all right, which you can buy at all sorts of markets, and you basically go with you just heat it over lide. Pat, Pat says, Travis, please don't hurt Patrick. Oh, Stephen, hey, woodchuck is good. Stephen, I had woodchuck too. My dad used to hunt them. He used to shoot them from the. I'll tell you that story in a minute. Woodchuck, I gotta remember woodchuck. So, back to what I was talking about. You take the surume ika and this squid, and you basically heat it on both sides over this flame in your kitchen, and it's you're basically roasting squid, dried squid, in the kitchen. If you've ever smelled cooked squid or seafood, well, dried squid is about 100 times stronger smelling than regular cooked squid, grilled squid, sauteed squid, fried squid, which we would call calamari, right? Yeah, it's really strong, really strong. So your whole apartment smells like squid for like a week. Not cool. Not cool. It is really tasty though. You shred it into these strips and then you eat it. You dip it in like a mayonnaise with lemon juice and cayenne pepper in it. Oh, really good. Or Tabasco if you have it. Tasty stuff. But that one, that's not bad. Like, it wasn't bad. But I went to an onsen one time. Onsen is like a hot spring retreat hotel. The onsen itself it's hot water spring. They're all over Japan, obviously, because of the volcanic activity. And they build these hotels on top of them. And then, you go, you get in the baths and swim around, blah, blah, blah. You don't really swim, but you take your baths, you come back in. And all right, so then they have a traditional New Year's meal, which consists of typically, grilled fish and some marinated fish and some marinated vegetables and some, they'll have like namako is like it's sea cucumber. I think it's I don't remember, blue sea cucumber, red sea cucumber. All right, and they eat it raw in Japan. It's kind of like jellyfish, right? And they eat jellyfish. It's julienne. They have a little sauce on it, sesame oil. You don't really know what it is. You just eat it, right? Okay, I have a cast iron stomach. I can eat almost anything. I used to watch Fear Factor, and they'd have that coagulated, sheep's blood pizza on a crust of maggots. Hell yeah, bring it on. I know people are going, whoa, in the background. No, seriously, I'll eat that. I don't care about the smell. I don't. But for some reason, this got to me, and I don't know why. But namako, this sea cucumber squirts out this white, gooey substance to ward off its predators. And apparently, Japanese eat that. They eat that, and I'm looking, and I didn't know what it was. So I'm looking at this white substance, right? And I'm like, so, I take my chopstick and I taste it. Excuse putting you on there. Woo! Mute the mic, Patrick. It's kind of like carbonated Elmer's glue, if you can imagine that. It's more like carbonated wood glue. The more yellowish, not the Gorilla Glue, but that more yellowish Carpenter's. It's the same company, right? So, but that's kind of, it almost has the smell of Elmer's glue. You know, that distinctive. It's not an aroma; it's a smell. It's somewhat petroleum. It's not sweet, but musky. I don't know. It's a very odd smell. What almost smelled like that. And when I put it, I put that in my mouth, and it was kind of carbonated and just sticky. I mean, I've eaten fermented soybeans called natto. And natto, not to be messed with if you don't like that kind of food. It's a very intense flavor. But yeah, that one got to me. I don't know. Look, I know that namako is that particular that sea cucumber, and nama means raw. I know that. I don't care what that stuff was called that squirts out of it. Don't bring it near me again. I didn't get sick. But I'm telling you, it was pretty. It was pretty bad. I would not do it again. Well, all right. If you served me a meal in Japan, I would probably go ahead and I have two watch parties on here. There was that yesterday. I don't know. No, it's today. I'm an idiot. Sharing stuff to my own page. The Spoony page. So that was probably the worst thing I've eaten. Oh, okay. What's the oyster bar there in there's an oyster bar in Boston. All right. No, not there. No, in the United States. No. Oh, Union Oyster House. That's it. So it's not. It's the oldest one in Boston, right? Everybody says it's the oldest restaurant in America. It's not. The White Horse Tavern is. That was opened in 1673. That's in Newport, Rhode Island, by the way. But that was, I think the Union Oyster House was like 1826, something like that. Yeah. 1826. So they're really famous for their clam chowder. They got this really cool, very rustic oyster bar there. And, okay, if you don't like oysters, then don't go. But I like oysters, so I go there. And, they have, 6, 7, 10 different varieties of oysters, all fantastic. And they shuck them right there. These guys are just, man, if you've ever shucked an oyster and you've not gotten good at it, it's a pain. It's a pain. It can be really, can be dangerous. You know, if you got that sharp knife, the oyster shucker. It's basically it's a short, very sturdy knife that's meant to pop the seal, like the part of the joint, basically where the shell joins and hinge, where that hinges. You're trying to break that apart is what you're doing. You're breaking that seal. Now there is an easy way to open oysters, and that you put them on the grill and they pop open when they steam, and then you just eat them. They're about half cooked. They're really delicious. It's really simple, and I prefer that method. But if I'm going to go eat them and somebody else open them, I don't mind doing 2 dozen, 4 dozen, 6 dozen, 20 dozen. That's okay. But when you're sitting there doing oysters all day and all night, Gladstones for fish. That was an oyster nightmare right there. Crazy. Anyway, my buddy Barry Furseth, my seafood expert, my go-to guru of the sea. He and I both got a bad oyster there, and man, there is nothing, I have to tell you. That the sea cucumber stuff, that namako expellant, I'd eat that stuff by the gallon before I put a bad oyster in my mouth again. That was quite. I mean, I don't think I've ever eaten anything and then just immediately wanted to be sick to my stomach. But that time, I was there. I didn't, but I was there. By the way, if you do go to Boston, there's a great chain of restaurants back there. It's a restaurant group called Legal Seafood. They have a number of restaurants. If you go down by the harbor, there's where the convention center is. I want to say it's the Sheraton Hotel is there. The convention center is like adjacent to it. Across the street there is one of the Legal Seafood restaurants. I'm not sure if it's Legal Seafoods or one of the other brand. I think it's Legal Seafoods. They have this great view of the water there. Barry and I had dinner there a couple times, and they have a variety, probably 10 or 12 selections of oysters daily. And what's fantastic is that the servers, they don't even have to read something to describe the oysters to you. And if you're not an oyster fan, you don't know this, but if you do like oysters, then you'll know that depending on the area they come from, the shape of the shell, and the brininess of the water that they're native to, they have a very unique flavor. I tend to prefer either smaller, flat shell, oysters, or ones that have a deep cup like the Japanese Kumamotos and things like that. They have a really fragile shell, but that deep cup allows it's a different flavor, different texture to the oyster as well. And people are like, I just swallow it. No, you chew the oyster. Either some mignonette sauce, which is basically vinegar and shallot and a couple other ingredients in there, or you can use cocktail sauce. Cocktail sauce. I think cocktail sauce is an unappreciated. It's a very unappreciated condiment, and I think it is because most. Oh my gosh, getting old. Oh yes, welcome to Spoony Radio. This is Chef Patrick, and welcome to year 15. My God, what am I? Again, I'm not complaining. I was stating a fact. I'm feeling a little bit older today. My hips are sore. Well, I did pretend to go running early this morning, like 3:30, but I didn't make it very far. I'm pretty out of shape. So, yeah, that's probably why I fell back asleep and woke up a little late today. But anyway, back to the actual story at hand. I don't know. It wasn't oysters. We were past oysters. What were we talking? Oh, cocktail sauce. All right, cocktail sauce. Cocktail sauce should not be the consistency of ketchup. Shouldn't. It should have more chili sauce in it. Look, anybody can take ketchup and throw a little Tabasco in it or whatever you want. Whatever you do to doctor up your cocktail sauce, right? No. I mean, really, it should be 2 or 3 parts of really good chili sauce. And when I say really good chili sauce, stuff that comes in a jar, the Heinz and Hunt's and all that stuff are okay. I think Heinz is the major one you find. But it's got to be a thicker. You can see the texture in it, right? It shouldn't look like ketchup. It should have chunks of roasted red bell peppers in it, and that chili sauce, awesome. It's one of my all-time favorite condiments when incorporated into another sauce. But you take that, and I don't think you can buy it in the stores. I think you have to buy it through like a Cisco or another broadline distributor. But you get that really intense, thick, rich chili sauce, and then you add the ketchup in, some Worcestershire sauce, Worcester sauce. That's not the Worcester. It's Worcestershire. It's not an American thing. Sorry, it's Worcestershire sauce, an A1, little sugar, salt, pepper, and man, I'm telling you what, that. Oh, and horseradish, tons of horseradish, and not just any. I've said this before. There's only one horseradish that should ever be used in food service, and that is Atomic brand horseradish. I know Boobies is good, blah, 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 blah. I know. But as far as prepared horseradish goes, it is the hottest. It is the most consistent, and it's just good. So that's my recipe. I can't give you the exact recipe because I stole it from a group I used to work for. And I will never reveal it. Never, I say, never. You can, name Price is Right. You never know. Hey, you never know. Hey, I could be like the dog on the Bush's Baked Beans commercial. I'd spill the beans if you give me the right price. Going right now is pretty cheap, like $50. So, man's got to eat. No, I'm just joking. No, anyway, so that actually came from Chart House. Chart House had a phenomenal cocktail sauce. Actually, it came from a Chart House restaurant called P.O.'s. And I did modify that a little bit. The old Chart House recipe, if you don't know Chart House, they started out in the 60s, 70s, up in Aspen, Colorado. Nautical-themed restaurant, big salad bar, nice big-ass hand-cut steaks every day. Unbelievable food, wildly successful. And I think at one time they had 30 restaurants. Now there's, 11 or 12 left. There's one in Dana Point. There's probably one still in San Diego. Dana Point is probably my favorite. Dana Point is kind of between San Diego. It's not kind of. It's the southern end of Los Angeles, down south of Orange County. And, man, what a view. I don't remember how many steps up to the restaurant it is to go up the cliffs. It's got to be 200. It might be more than that, but it's a beautiful view. If you ever get out there, look up Chart House. It's some people say it's owned by Tillman Fertitta and the Landry's. You know what? So what? Go for the view. You know, I would love. I'll tell you what an interesting guy, Tillman Fertitta. That man, money making machine. That's all I can tell you. Brilliant businessman. Very, very, very difficult to work for, from what I understand. I've never worked for him, so I'm speaking. That's third party information. But Tillman Fertitta, if you never watched Billionaire Buyer, or if you don't know the Landry's Group, I mean, I want to look that up. Landry's Group they own everything. All right, Landry's, they own what? Bubba Gump. They own they used to own, what was it, Joe's Crab Shack, but I think that got bought back. So what companies Landry own? Here we go. Ready? Bubba Gump Shrimp Company, Claim Jumper, McCormick and Schmick's. I did not know they own McCormick and Schmick's. I did not know they bought McCormick and Schmick's. Morton's the Steakhouse, more seafood restaurants, Rainforest Cafe, Saltgrass Steakhouse, Saltgrass, T-Rex Cafe, more items. Let's see. Oh, they also own the pier and the boardwalk down in Kemah. Down in on Galveston Island, or not Kemah, but on Galveston Island. They have casinos. They have all the Landry seafood restaurants. Interesting. Yeah, they have a lot of different. Chart House, Downtown Aquarium in Houston, Golden Nugget Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Laughlin, Nevada, Atlantic City, New Jersey, Biloxi, Mississippi, and Lake Charles, Louisiana. Man, tell you, that guy, smart man. Like him or not, he's made a lot of money. All right, hey, come on back tomorrow. I got a couple of callers tomorrow. We'll have some fun. Chef Patrick Mosher, the Food Biz Pro. Remember, be kind to yourself. You are what you eat. Take care of you.